Allowing the elbows to still draw down, bring your palms together with your thumbs at your chest. Let your eyes rest into your cheekbones. And let's chant the syllable alone 3 times together. Exhaling completely, deep inhalation. Lifting your sternum towards the ceiling, lower your chin towards your heart. Release your hands onto your thighs with your palms up. With your eyes closed, raise your head and gently let your eyelids open. So at home, are you able to hear me through this mic? Somebody unmute yourself and tell me whether it's okay or not.
It's okay, Jonathan.
Great, thank you for that.
Okay, I can hear you.
All right, so let's start off lying back. Take a strap. Have the strap to your side, but have it nearby so that you can reach it. Start with your legs bent. And I'm not asking you to do a pelvic tilt. I'm just asking you to stick your hands underneath your buttocks and lengthen the top of the buttocks towards your heels. And then straighten your left leg, drag your heel, straighten your left leg, drag your heel, straighten your right leg. Take your feet together, heels together, toes straight up at the ceiling. Interlock your thumbs together and extend your arms overhead. Keep the front bottom ribs moving towards the back body. Keep the top of the buttocks moving towards the heels and press the thighs down. Be sure you are not just pushing your knees down. Take the awareness higher in your legs to the top of the thighs and press the thighs down. If your heels come up, you are pressing your knees down. Do not allow the heels to come up. Remember that often in our poses, less is more. So I'm talking to those of you who tend to overwork it and want to make sure you are feeling something. Don't do that. Press your heels down, then press the thighs down. Lengthen through the inner legs, from the inner thigh, through the inner knee. Don't let the toes fall apart. So heels touching, balls of the toes touching. Soles of the feet are one straight line parallel to the wall. Lengthen from the inner thighs, through the inner knee, through the inner heel. Let the energy come around the leg, draw from your outer knees to your outer hips, compact the hips together. Keep the thigh bones pressing down. The heels press first, and then the thighs press, ensuring that the heels don't come up even the teeniest amount. That means you are pushing your knees down. Now maintain that awareness to the leg. This is lengthen to the side ribs. So creating more distance between your hips and your armpits again. But again, we're looking for an evenness on the two sides. So notice which side is responding more to your wanting to lengthen. And can you find an evenness? Can you spread the awareness of your brain to the two sides and say, can we get the two sides to be closer to the same length, same distance? And then continue the extension through the armpits, extending from the armpits, make your armpits longer. Extending from the armpits to the elbows, to the wrists, all the way to the fingertips. As you extend through the fingertips, also drawing back from the outer elbows to the shoulders. So the inner legs are extending, the inner arms are extending, drawing from your outer knees to your outer hips, drawing from your outer elbows to your shoulders. Find the lengthening. Watch those front bottom ribs pushing towards the ceiling. Take the front bottom ribs towards the back body, towards the floor. And release, relax. Arms up by your sides, palms up, let your legs go. Breathe into your shoulders. Breathe into your hips. Space in your armpits. Space in the armpits. Breathe into your shoulders and breathe into your hips. Bend your legs. Scoop the flexor of your buttocks towards your heels. Again, not a pelvic tilt, you're just lengthening the lower back. Straighten your legs, drag your right heel on the floor, straighten your leg, drag your left heel on the floor, straighten your leg. Take your feet together, heels together, toes together. Toes point straight at the ceiling, little toes move back towards you. Interlock your thumbs together overhead the opposite way. So take the opposite thumb on top. Notice how as you extend your arms overhead, the front bottom ribs move towards the ceiling. Take the front bottom ribs towards the back body. So arms overhead now, curl up. Thumbs in, curl up like this one. Not that the other one's wrong, you can do it that way too. So again, the front bottom is moving towards the back body. The top of the buttocks moving towards the heels. But notice as the top of the buttocks moves towards the heels, as the lower back descends, the thighs come up. So you want to press the thighs down as you do that. But again, being kind and compassionate to your knees, especially those of you who have knee problems. I know that doesn't apply to everyone here, but some of you that do, it's severe. So you need to hold extra compassion for you. Remember, we are not seeking always more, we are seeking optimal. So what is optimal for today? What is kind for today? Chances are you can do more. Chances are you can go into unkind territory to your body. And I'm asking you not to go into that territory today, but to find what is optimal for your body today. And allowing the awareness to expand through the body. Lengthen through the inner legs. Draw from your outer knees to your outer hips. Compact the hips together. Lengthen through the side ribs. Finding that evenness again. So an evenness on the legs we're looking for, an evenness on the side ribs we're looking for. And continuing through the arms, opening the armpits, extending armpit to elbow, elbow to wrist, right through the fingertips. And then drawing, the energy comes back, drawing from your outer elbow to your shoulders. Scanning the two sides of the body, the legs, the arms, the torso, noticing the unevenness that is there, and seeking an evenness. And remembering that often when we seek an evenness, we think one side needs to work harder. And sometimes it is that. We need to wake a part of the body up. But sometimes the part of the body is working as hard as it can, so the other part needs to work less hard. You have to begin to go inward and find out what is true for you. Which side needs to work harder, which side needs to work less hard, and how do they meet in the middle into that optimal space. And release and relax. Let your arms go, let your legs go. Breathe into your shoulders, breathe into your hips. Bend your legs, take your feet on the floor. Bend your right leg into your chest. Put the strap around your foot where the heel meets the arch and straighten your right leg. Please no death grips on the strap. Take your heel above your hip. No death grips on the strap, just a gentle holding. Soften your shoulders so the outer shoulder bones go down. Soften that space between the neck and the shoulders. And press your thigh bone back. Your right thigh bone. Again, not the knee. the thigh bone towards the back of the leg. Not the shin bone towards the back of the leg, the thigh bone towards the back of the leg. Soften your shoulders. Lengthen from your inner thigh, through your inner knee, through your inner ankle, push through the ball of the big toe. The ball of the big toe is the peak of the pose. It's higher than any part of the pose. Broaden across the foot, more distance between the ball of the big toe and the ball of the little toe. And draw from your outer knee to your outer hip. Take your outer right hip away from your right shoulder. When you do that, there's a tendency for the thigh to turn out. So now you have to turn the thigh back in so that your kneecap points forward, not more than that. And then continue to press the thigh back and take the outer hip back. Opening up the back of the hamstring as well. Soft jaw, soft face, soft lips, soft tongue, soft hands. There's a softness here, even though we're opening the hamstring. But we don't want to take the tension of that hamstring and just move it into other parts of our bodies. Switch legs. The left leg up, the strap goes where the heel meets the arch today. Press the thigh bone back. So left leg is up, right leg is bent. Thigh bone moving back. And I'm saying don't jam your knee back, but I'm not saying bend your leg. It's still a straight leg to the best of your ability. Not everybody can get a straight leg, that's fine. Your leg isn't completely straight. We do the best we can. We do what's optimal today. But do press the thigh bone. The thigh bone moves from the front of the leg towards the back of the leg. Lengthen from your inner thigh, through your inner knee, through your inner ankle, push through the ball of the big toe. The ball of the big toe is the peak of the pose. Broaden across the foot. More distance between the ball of the big toe and the ball of the little toe. And then draw from your outer knee to your outer hip. As you drop your outer knee to your outer hip, take your left outer hip away from your left shoulder. So the two sides of your torso are equal in length, right? Once the leg goes up, you tend to shorten that side. So take that hip away so the side of the torso is equal, the left side is equal to the right side. That will turn the thigh up for many of us. So turn the thigh back in so that the kneecap points forward. Press the thigh bone back, take the outer hip back with it. If you get that, some of you will notice an adjustment in the lower back. Soften the shoulders, the hands, the face, the neck. And switch legs. Right leg up, left leg bent. Heel over your hip, soften your hands, soften your shoulders. Turn the thigh in so that the kneecap points forward. Press the thigh bone back. Now take the outer hip with it. Let's take the outer hip and the thigh, move them away from your face. Move the thigh bone towards the back of the leg as if it's leaving, moving further away from the front of the the front of the thigh, the quadricep, the part that's closer to your face. And it's actually moving towards the back of your leg, getting closer to your hamstring. Now lengthen through the inner leg, push through the ball of the big toe, draw from your outer knee to your outer hip. Now maintain that, soften the hands and the shoulders, drag your left heel on the floor and straighten your left leg. Turn the left thigh in. And now see if you can mirror the experience of the left leg to the right leg, where even though they're in different directions. So the left thigh also presses down, right? So the left thigh presses down, the right thigh presses back, lengthening through the inner leg, soften your shoulders, draw from your outer knees to your outer hips. Right leg up, left leg down. The right outer hip
is creeping up towards your right shoulder. So you want to take that right outer hip away from your shoulder. And as you draw from the outer knee to the outer hips, compacting the hips together, ensure that you are lengthening through the inner legs. Just for a moment, imagine you're really enjoying it. If you are really enjoying it, then you can let it last for more time. Allow the body to open. Switch legs. Take your right foot on the floor, left leg in, left foot in the strap, left leg towards the ceiling. Left leg straight, right leg bent. Make sure that your lower back stays down. Don't take that left leg so close to your face that your lower back begins to come up. The lower back stays down. Turn the thigh in so that your kneecap points forward. Press the thigh bone back, take the outer hip with it. Lengthen through the inner leg, push it to the ball of the big toe, draw from your outer knee to your outer hip. So some of you may notice on the other side, when you straighten the lower leg, your foot went further away from your face and your hip came closer to your shoulder. So see if you can, even though you're about to move the right leg, can you pay attention to the left leg, especially the location of the hip and foot. And keep the left hip moving away, keep the foot where it is, and now drag the right heel and straighten the right leg. Turn the right thigh in. Make any adjustments you need. Again, take that left hip away from your shoulder. Please soften your shoulders. And now, can you allow the two legs, even though they're in different directions, to have similar experiences where the thighs press back, lengthen through the inner thighs, the whole inner legs, drop your outer knees to your outer hips. Where is it stuck? And can you send signals to open? Not force through. Forcing through is not opening. But where can you find the opening? And remember, the goal is not more, the goal is optimal. Soft face, soft lips, soft tongue. Now take both legs of the strap. Soften your shoulders. Lengthen through the inner legs. The thigh bones move away from the face, from the head. Don't just jam your knees back, please. Tying your abdomen towards your spine, the lower back connected to the floor. Lengthen through the inner legs, drop from the outer knees to the outer hips. The abdomen moving down towards the spine. And bend your legs, take your feet on the floor, put your strap to the side. Now some of you will want to use your strap again. If you know you want to use your strap and you take your legs up again, we're going to take the legs up again, use your strap again, that's fine. Everybody else, you can interlock your thumbs together, extend your arms overhead, and bend your legs into your chest. Flex your toes. Flexing the toes begins the gripping of the abdomen. Now you help draw the abdomen down towards the spine. Lying your lower back towards the floor. Lengthen through the arms, keep the abdomen down, and then straighten your legs towards the ceiling, 90 degrees. Legs together, lengthen through the inner legs. Draw from the outer knees to the outer hips, but more importantly, what we're focusing on is the abdomen. Drawing the abdomen down. Keep the abdomen down, lengthen the arms, lengthen through the legs. Soft shoulders, soft hands if you're gripping the strap still. Bend your legs for a moment. Keep extending through the arms. We're taking the legs back up. Flex the toes towards you, right? Notice how the connection of that towards the abdomen, bring the abdomen down, kick your legs back up, 90 degrees. Try not to take the legs closer to your face than 90 degrees. Thighs back. Extend through the inner legs, extend through the inner arms. Abdomen down. So this is 90 degrees, and you're welcome to stay at 90 degrees. And those that want to go a little further, eyeing your abdomen down, and take your legs to 60 degrees. 60 degrees. Extend through the inner legs. Easier to straighten your legs here. More work on the abdomen. Lengthen through the inner legs, lengthen through the inner arms, abdomen down. Back up to 90 degrees. You do what's optimal for you. You can stay at 90 degrees. Back down to 60 degrees. You can stay 60 degrees, or you can take it down to 30 degrees. If your lower back comes up, that's as far as you go. You don't go down when your lower back comes up. Lower back down, abdomen down, lengthen through the inner legs, lengthen through the inner arms, back up to 60. If you're already 60, then you're back up to 90. Now everyone back up to 90. Abdomen down, extend through the legs. From there, bend your legs into your chest. Release and relax, straighten your legs on the floor. Your arms go, let your legs go. Breathe into your shoulders, breathe into your hips. You got fun working the abdomen. I'll take those groans as a yes. All right, one last time, lengthening the whole body. Interlock your thumbs the opposite way you just had them. Straighten the legs on the floor, feet together, heels together, toes together. Lengthen the whole body. Extending through the inner legs, extending through the inner arms. Feet together, heels together, toes straight up at the ceiling. Little toe moves back towards you, bottoms of your feet in one straight line. Lengthen through the inner legs, lengthen through the inner arms. Soft throat, soft jaw, soft eyes. Now let the balls of the toes come away from each other. Drop your outer knees to outer hips. Drop your outer elbows to your shoulders. But as you create more distance between your feet and your fingertips, and you more focus on creating more space on the inside, more space through which your breath, the prana, the life force can flow. The cosmic energy, as BKS Iyengar sometimes refers to it. And release and relax. Your arms go, let your legs go. Breathe into your shoulders, breathe into your head. Bend your legs go to the right, come up to your hands and knees. You want to use a chair or block for downward facing dog, just take them. Shoulders over your wrists if you're on the floor, shoulders over the wrists. First finger pointing forward, knees slightly behind your hips. Press down to the balls of your first finger and thumb, rotate the upper arms out. Push it to the floor, lengthen through the inner arms. Turn your toes under, straighten your legs. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, press your thighs back. Take your chest towards your thighs, take your sit bones towards the ceiling. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Olivia, if you can, a little bit more distance between your hands and your feet, and take your feet a little further apart. Turn your thighs in and press your thighs back. Lift yourself up, really lift yourself up. Now your abdomen is quite awake. Now we just did some nice abdominal work. Take your abdomen and roll it into your tailbone and press your thighs back even more, as if it's your abdomen that is pressing the thighs back. Pressing down to the balls of the first finger and thumb as you rotate the upper arms out. Press the thighs back.
Send your outer heels towards the floor, lift your outer hips up. All right, hopefully the back of your hamstrings are nice and open now. Move into the openings. Look up, walk your feet forward. Hold your elbows forward, but feet to knock. Hold your elbows. Upper arms in line with your ears. Hips over your heels as best you can. Legs straight. Make sure your toes are pointing forward. Press the thigh bones back. So now it's the same action with the legs, the thigh bones, pressing back. Lifting from the outer knees to the outer hips. Lengthening from the inner knees through the inner legs. Lifting. Moving your hips towards the ceiling, allowing your torso to fall over your thighs. Move the shoulder blades into the body. Let your arms go, hands on the floor, walk your feet back. Downward facing dog. Turn your thighs and press your thighs back. Open up the backs of the legs. Open up the backs of the legs. The backs of the thighs turn from the inside out. Right? Sometimes they turn the thighs and press the thighs back. And that's fine. But can you also begin to learn to open the backs of the legs from the inside out? Especially those of you who've been practicing for some time. Bringing awareness to the backs of the legs. Open the backs of the legs from the inside out, press the thigh bones back. Lift from the outer knees to the outer hips, hips high, but at the same time, extend the outer heels down from the center of the calf, through the tendon, through the heels move towards the floor, but the hips move towards the ceiling. So you become longer. Outer shoulder bones down. Let the skull release and take some moments now to observe the pose. Experience the pose. Not what you want the pose to be. Maybe you want something different today. Observe the pose you are experiencing right now, in this moment. Of course, if you find something to be totally off, yeah, you can make an adjustment, that's fine. I'm not saying you can't adjust things. You must learn to observe as well. Look up, arch your feet forward, hold your elbows the opposite way. Loosen up from the forward bend. Toes forward. No toes gripping. Lean your hips back slightly now. We're doing an adjustment. Lean your hips back. Lean your hips as far back as you can without falling over. And then extend your elbows forward towards the front of the room. So the elbows are coming up. And you're extending your hips back. So your legs are at an angle now, right? I always say make sure the legs are not at an angle. Take them at an angle now. Let your hips moving back. And then your elbows moving forward to lengthen through the side ribs and the arms. Now, keep all that length that you've achieved between the hips and the elbows, keep that. And on an exhalation, take your hips forward over your heels. But don't lose the length. So now, hopefully you understand instructions. Let's do it again. Take the hips back. Take your legs at an angle. Lean back with the legs, and now take the elbows forward. Take the elbows forward. And find that length. Lean back as much as you can. Take the elbows forward as much as you can, while still holding the elbows, so the forearms are still crossed, holding the elbows. Now maintain that length that you now have more length. Keep that length, and take your hips back over your heels. Let your arms go. Sweep your arms back. Take your chest forward. And then come all the way up. Tadasana. Feet together or feet hip distance apart. One, fine. Feet together. Balls of the toes touching, heels touching. If you're hip distance apart, then underneath your hip sockets. Feet together, then the balls of the toes touch and the inner heels touch. Hips over your heels, shoulders over your hips. Press your thighs. Lift from your outer knees to your outer hips, the back of your hips together. Lengthen from your inner knees to your abdomen. Yeah. You can even just push them down. But both sides. So when you do that, you were going like this on your right side, right? So find the evenness of lifting through the side ridge first, and then from the sides of your neck, move your shoulders down evenly. So you're going exaggerated on one side. And that goes for everyone. Lift through the side ridge evenly. The shoulders do move down, move them down evenly. As best you can. Take your arms up to the side, rotate the arms, palms up, watch those ribs towards the back body, and then all the way. Thighs back. Ribs back. Soft base. Rotate the triceps towards the nose. Hands up to the sides, exhale, come down. Teach your trigonastic triangle pose. Fingertips up, let your legs under stretch your feet apart. Wide stance, feet below your hands, shoulders down. Turn your left foot and turn your right leg up. Take your front heel in line with your back leg. Press the outer to the back heel, turn the front thigh from the inside out, lift your outer knees to your outer hips. Inhale, exhale, kick your right hand back. Press the outer rim of your back heel, turn the front thigh out, lift from your outer knees to your outer hips. Extend those arms away from each other. Find that rotation in the torso. So lean back against your imaginary wall. The head goes back too. Good, Olivia. That was good. Put yourself up now. Parallel your feet, other side, right foot and left leg. Front heel in line with your back arch. Press the outer end of your back heel. Turn the front thigh out. Lift from your outer knees to your outer hips and tuck the hips together. In, exhale. Lean back. Press the outer end of the back heel. Turn the front thigh out. Lift from your outer knees to your outer hips. Rotate the torso, extend those arms away from each other. Put yourself up in it. Parallel your feet, jump as best as you can. One more time. Fingertips up, bend your legs up. Take your hands on your hips for a moment. Turn your left foot and turn your right leg out. Press the back heel, outer end of the back heel. Turn the front thigh out. Now it is on both legs as a lifting from the outer knees to the outer hips. So I want you to especially focus on that lifting of the front leg, moving the femur bone into the hip socket, really lifting the outer knee to the outer hip. And this hip doesn't move once you're here. When I started yoga, they were teaching you would bring that hip back and then you'd extend forward to get more length on the side body. There was a reason for it. And what they found was all these people are hurting their hips over time, right? So secure the hip, lift the outer knee to the outer hip, and maintain that. Now, if you maintain the lifting up, when you take the torso down, you'll feel the torso goes down more smoothly, more evenly, perhaps even further. If you stop and then go down and then forget it, it doesn't happen. So we're going to extend the arms, we're going to come down, but I want you to really focus on lifting the outer knee to the outer hip, not taking the hip back, keeping it where it is, but just that action of moving the femur bone into the hip socket. So extend the arms. Now still press the back heel, that's still there. Do not move the hip in space towards the back leg or the wall that your back leg is facing. But lift from the outer knee to the outer hip. Inhale, lift from the front outer knee to outer hip, and just take your right hand out. And then maintain that lifting of the outer knee to the outer hip. You know, let's come back up. Let's just do it again. Lift from the outer knee to the outer hip, front leg. Inhale, exhale, come down. Let's do it one more time. Come on up, inhale up. Lift from the outer knee to the outer hip. Maintain that as you exhale, come down. Press the back heel. Keep lifting the outer knees to the outer hip. Some of you have lost it. Lean back on your imaginary wall. Good, Carl. Extend those arms away from each other. Pull yourself up and out. Parallel your feet. Take your hands on your hips for a moment. Turn your right foot and turn your left leg out. Press into the outer and the back heel. Turn the front thigh out. Now it is lifting both outer knees to the outer hip, but I really want you to pay attention on the front leg. It's similar, just like in forward bend, right? In Uttanasana, most of you heard me say, the more you lift your outer knees to the outer hip, the more your torso will come over. So we're on the side here, it's not exactly the same, but there's a similarity. So lift from your outer knee to your outer hip, maintain that, extend through the arms, keep lifting, front leg, outer knee to outer hip, and come down. So lifting up as you go down. And then let's do it again, inhale, come up. Lift from that front outer knee to outer hip and come down. Keep the hip where it is, don't move it back. Inhale, come up, one more time. Lift from the front outer knee to outer hip, keep it as you go down. So you're lifting up as you go down. Press that thigh, back to back thigh, lift from the outer knees to the outer hips. Rotate the torso, extend those arms away from each other. Now you guys are down, I'm just up. Because I like to look at people. I mean, if you have to come up, it's okay, come up. Pull yourself in. Parallel, surface it. All right, take a chair, turn it to the on the side of the And if you want to face, if you're on the side of the room and you need to face me, it's fine. Whatever you want. It doesn't have to be the same. All right, your right foot is, watch for a second. Your right foot is forward, your left leg is back. But we're not doing this one here where the shoulders are over the wrists. We're going back so that there's closer. I know I'm not really in a straight line. And for me to get the space I need, I actually have to take the chair off of the mat. But you want your arms and your torso to be closer to a straight line. I still need a little bit more flexibility. But another 20 years and maybe I'll be there. Notice also how this hip of my front leg, just like if you picture me lying back, this is the leg I'm taking up. This hip is forward, so I have to take that outer right hip away from my shoulder so the two sides of my torso are closer to being equal in length. All right, so going back into the hamstrings. Okay, so hands on the chair, right foot forward, left leg back, but be far enough away from the chair so that you have an opening in the side of the in the armpits. Leanne, that's a little too long between your feet. Too long. Split the difference. Just move front now. Take the front, the back foot a little further back. Split the difference. And Olivia, if you can get more distance, a little more distance between your feet, do so. If that's not accessible, then that's fine. Lift from your outer knees to your outer hips. Take your outer right hip away from your right shoulder so that the two sides of your torso are equal in length. Lengthen from your pubic bone to your navel, from your navel to your sternum, from your sternum to your collarbone. And take the shoulder blades into the body. The head begins to look forward. So don't look at your foot, but begin to look either on the floor in front of you. If you have enough flexibility, eventually you look up. I don't look up because it's not healthy for my neck to look straight up, but I begin to look forward. So you can look forward on the floor in front of you because we're looking for that length in the side ribs and in the spine. Keep lifting from the outer knees to the outer hips. Lengthen through that front of the spine, the front of the torso. Take the shoulder blades into the body. The shoulder blades move towards your waist, then they kind of come back in as if they are pushing your chest forward. And then notice where your feet are, front foot and back foot, so that when you switch legs, you're at the same spots. And then bend your front leg, take your back foot forward, put it where the front foot is, and then take your front foot back to where the back foot was. Now immediately notice how your left hip is forward of your right hip. Take the left outer hip away from your shoulder. So the two sides of your torso are equal in length. Leanne, also lift your left hip towards the ceiling. Left hip towards the ceiling, right hip down. Leanne, right hip down, left hip up. No? Yeah, that's good. Figure out the difference between back and up and down, because it gets confusing. And that left hip you want to take up towards the ceiling and towards the wall behind you. Because right now your right hip is higher than your left hip. So your right hip has to go towards the floor. Ah, there we go. Yeah. Lift from your outer knees to your outer hips. Pack those hips together. There is a lengthening of the groins here, by the way. And lengthen from your pubic bone to your navel, from your navel to your sternum, from your sternum to the collarbone. The energy rolls over your shoulders. Take your shoulder blades into the body. The shoulder blades is down towards your waist. Adjust your hips again, Leanne. Take your shoulder blades towards your waist. But then they come back in to push your chest forward, which then pushes your head forward. Right? The head looks up not just because of the neck, but because the chest is moving so far forward that your head has nowhere else to go. And then you begin looking at it.
The head is still in between the arms.
Head is between the arms, yes. Looking slightly forward, or more forward depending on your flexibility. And then bend your front leg, walk your foot forward, back foot forward, keep your hands on your hips, almost towards the ceiling. Inhale. All right, so watch for a second, and those in the room, if the clothes are in the way, move around a little bit so you can at least see it. So to be clear, the final pose is your hands on the floor, even in the concave one. But from down here, it's really hard for me to get that chest forward and then begin to look up. That's why we have the chair. So what's really happening in the head? Well, first I need to make that adjustment. Now I need to lengthen the front of the spine and actually the side. Now it's the shoulder blades that end up doing a lot of the work. So the shoulder blades move towards the spine, but then the shoulder blades come back forward to help the chest move forward. And as I do that, if you look closely, I'm going to try and take my arms away just so you can see it. And I'm taking the shoulder blades into the chest forward, and some of you will notice that my head actually moves. This is my neck moving, but that doesn't feel good. That pinches all of this back here. So instead, but I'm not doing this either. I'm not looking back. So I'm taking the shoulder blades down, and then taking the shoulder blades in to move my chest, and that is causing my head to. And if I get further, then yeah, I can maybe move my neck a little bit. But it's not just taking your neck to look up and then, crinkling the back of your neck. Using the side ribs and the chest to come forward. Now we will do the second part of the pose. So from here, we're going forward. And I'll say, pick your hands on the floor. But what many of us do is we begin to round. I don't want you to do that. You just work on creating all this length here. You come down, you take your abdomen down first, and then your chest, and then you do let your head go. Now, for some of you, that floor is going to be far away. So you have these great blocks here. We'll take some blocks, and that's fine. Notice my elbows are out to the side. So you can have hands on the floor or hands on blocks. When we come out, we'll take hands back on the chair, repeat what we did, and then we'll switch sides, and eventually you might come out of the pose. Then you just stay there all day. The words clear? All right, right foot forward, left leg back. Hands on the chair. So this is what we would call the concave back version. It's the concave back, and then there's the convex back for going forward. This is the concave back, where you really want the shoulder blades to come into the bottom. But start with the legs. So Leanne, you have to do the same on your hips in the opposite leg. Lift your right hip, lower your left hip. Yeah, there we go. So take a snapshot in your head of what that feels like so you can achieve it again. Lift from your outer knees to your outer hips. Lengthen through the inner groins. Now lengthen to the side. Lengthen the front of the spine from the pubic bone to your navel. Create more length there, just in that small area. Then from your navel to your sternum, create more length there. And then from your sternum to your collarbone, create more length. The energy rolls over your shoulders. Take your shoulder blades into the body. Now, they do move towards your waist, but then they come back up and the shoulder blades begin to move your chest forward. And some of you may notice that the head begins to move forward as the chest moves forward. But again, we're not just cranking the neck up. Can you use your shoulder blades in such a way that they move into the body to move the chest forward? And that begins to extend the head forward. Now, notice all the length that you've created. I want you to keep that. Now, don't do it yet, because I want to add something here from triangle pose. Remember, triangle pose and Namaste. We lift from the outer knees to the outer hips. The more lift we get, the more down, the easier it is to go down, further to go down. So now, lift from the outer knees to the outer hips. Maintain that. Don't lose that at all. As you lift from the outer knees to the outer hips, let the fingertips come to your block on the floor. Keep lifting from the outer knees to the outer hips. As you bend the elbows out to the side, take your abdomen down, then your chest, and then do let your head go. But the goal is not to get your head towards your shin. The goal is to get your abdomen flat on your thighs and to take your chest towards your front big toe. Now is a beautiful opportunity to say something kind and loving to your hamstring. Or maybe an apology for ignoring it for so long, right? You're yelling at it. No, apologize to it because you've ignored it for so long. And then straighten your arms, begin to look up, hands back on the chair, so back to that concave back, take the shoulder blades in. And then bend your front leg, walk your back foot forward, take your hands on your hips, inhale, come up. I'm giving you a little break between the sides. It's a pretty intense pose. Parsvanottanasana, side forward bend, but really means side intense pose. Glute is intense. All right, so now hands back on the chair. Now your left foot forward, right leg back. Hopefully you remember where your feet were because you want them to be in the same places. Immediately you have to take that left outer hip away from your shoulder, right? Lift from the outer knees to the outer hips. Good, that's a lot better than it. Lift from the outer knees to the outer hips. Compact the hips. Lengthen the groins. Now lengthen through the side ribs. Extend from your pubic bone to your navel. Extend from your navel to your sternum. Extend from your sternum to your collarbone. The energy rolls over your shoulders. Take your shoulder blades into the body. And at first they go down towards your waist, but then they come back in to extend your chest forward. As you extend your chest forward, for some of you, you'll notice that the head moves forward. If that's not happening today, it's not happening today. But don't fight it with that. Allow the head to begin to move forward because the shoulder blades are coming in the chest forward and your head has nowhere else to go. Keep lifting from the outer knees to the outer hips. And maintain that length of the sides, maintain that length of the spine. Now as you maintain that length, lift both outer knees to the outer hips. On your exhalation, take your fingertips to the floor. Inhale, on your exhalation, take your abdomen towards your thigh. Then your chest comes down, and then let the head go. And do let the head go completely. Keep lifting from the outer knees to the outer hips. The more you get that lifting action, the more your torso falls over your front thigh. So please remember, the goal is not to get your head towards your shin, it's to get the abdomen flat on your thigh, and to take your chest towards your front big toe. Again, instead of fighting with your hamstring, make friends. Let your head go the end. Make friends with your hamstring. It's not your hamstring's fault we sit in chairs for 8-10 hours a day. Practice kindness to yourself, to your body. Work on leg, walk your back foot forward. Take your hands on your hips, extend your chest forward, and then come up. Good off. All right, watch for a moment. You don't need so much space. I'm going to take my mat back on my chair now. I'll reach a Trikonasana. Now this time you're going to be closer to the chair. So it's still going to be, just watch, it's still going to be right foot forward, left leg back. Hips are square. But now here I am with my shoulders relatively over my wrists. You'll take your left hand over your right foot, right? So the foot is in the center of the chair, a little underneath the chair. And the hand is then in the center of the chair. Now this right hip is still pulling forward, right? The right side of my body is shorter than the left. So I take that right outer hip away. So the two sides of my torso are lengthened. Inhale, and then exhale, and turn. Trikonasana. There's a tendency to tuck the chin, keep the head back. If you have your balance, extend your arm up, that's fine. All right, let's try that. So foot underneath the chair, left leg back. And you can just take both hands down for now. Both hands on the chair. So it's relatively above the wrist. If you might hurt the slight angle, that's fine. Take that right hip back. So the two sides of your torso will equal in length. Take your left hand over where your right foot is, and the right hand goes on the hip. Keep that right hip going back, square those hips. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, turn towards the back wall. Or you're towards the front wall. Sorry, you're the other way. So I should have said towards the front leg. Yep, so right hand on your hip, Sean. If you have a balance, that's it. Lift from your outer knees to your outer hips. Compact your hips together, that will help with the balance. Lengthen the inner groins, that will help with the turn. Then rotate. And if you feel you're well balanced, you can extend your right arm up. And if the arm is up, though, work them. Extend the arms away from each other. Which means one hand goes down, the other hand goes up. You're going to take your hand back on your hip, rotate your torso towards the chair, place both hands on the chair. Notice where your feet are, and then switch legs. So the front leg goes back, back leg comes in front. Take that left outer hip away from your shoulder. Take the right hand in the center of the chair, so over your left foot. Left hand on your hip, keeping that left hip moving back. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, turn over your front leg. Or towards your front leg. Rotate. Keep lifting the outer knees to the outer hips, compact the hips. That helps the balance. Lengthen your inner groins from your inner knees through your lower abdomen. That will help you turn. If you have your balance, feel free to extend your arm up. But if your arm is up, use them. Extend them and notice how it affects the turn. Keep lifting from the outer knees to the outer hips. If your arms are extending, you should be pushing into the chair and extending the other arm towards the ceiling. And then take your hand on your hip, rotate your torso towards the chair, hands on the chair, bend your front leg, walk your back and forward, hands on hips, inhale, come up, Tadasana, any way you're facing, doesn't matter. Checking in with yourself. One more time. Hands on the chair, right foot slightly underneath the chair, left leg back. Take your outer right hip away from your shoulder, two sides of the torso equal in length. Take your right hand, take the left hand, onto the center of the chair, right hand onto your hip, and again, squeeze that right hip back. Inhale, lengthen the spine first. Exhale, turn, rotate. Press it to the back heel as you rotate. Press it to the back heel as you rotate. Lengthen the inner groins, lift from the inner knees through the lower abdomen as you rotate. Take your left ribs forward and your right ribs back. Keep lifting from the outer knees to the outer hips. If you have your balance, extend the arm out. That arm is the traditional arm. Hands are part of the pose. That means fingers together, thumb alongside of your fingers. If you're doing a therapeutic version with your fingers separated, that's fine, but know that you're doing the therapeutic version and know why you're doing it. Otherwise, it's fingers together, thumb alongside of your fingers. There's nothing wrong with the other version. You just want to be consciously aware of what you're doing. The arms are up, extend those arms away from each other. Now take your right hand on your hip and turn your torso, take both hands on the chair, bend your front leg, and switch legs. Take the left hip away from your shoulder. Two sides of your torso equal in length. Lift from the outer knees to the outer hips, lengthen the groins here. Do it here. Take the right hand over your left foot, take your left hand on your hip, and again, take that hip away, get that length. Inhale, lengthen the spine, exhale, turn, rotate. Keep lifting from the outer knees to the outer hips. Keep lengthening from the inner knees through the groins. Right ribs forward, left ribs back. The front leg stays straight. If you have your balance, you're welcome to extend your top arm. If you're extending the top arm, it means you're pushing down with the lower arm, you're reaching up with the higher arm, because that affects the turn. It's not just to rotate to extend the arm. Notice what working the arms does with the turn itself. And of course, still lifting from the outer knees to the outer hips, press that back heel, lengthening through the inner groins. Finding a softness in the pose, not a harshness, a softness, an openness, even though it's a twist and we're closing some stuff. What's closing, what's opening? Take your left hand on your hip, turn your torso towards the floor, hands on the chair. Take your left foot back, downward facing dog pose. So hands are still on the chair, right and left legs are back, feet, left and right feet are back, downward facing dog. So we're moving back to a symmetrical pose. Take your hands on the chair, not in front of the chair. We worked on that a couple of weeks ago, right? We're not pushing the chair away from us. The hands have a downward action and a forward action. You don't want your hands at the lip of the chair pushing back. Shoulders away from your ears. You should feel now all that length in the side ribs, all that length in the spine that we've been working on. Towards the thighs pressing back. Look up, walk your feet forward. Hands on your hips, elbows up, and now come up into Tadasana. Check in with yourself. What's open that was closed before? How was this pose different than it was at the beginning of class? Move the chair to the side, lie back on your mat. Legs into your chest. Hold around your shins are behind your knees. Give yourself a hug here. Say something kind to yourself. Say something kind to your body for doing this work today. And keep your hands on the face of your knees. Inhale, let your thighs move away from you just a few inches. On your exhalation, draw them back towards you just to ease the lower back. Inhale, legs moving away. Exhale, legs moving towards you. Inhaling, legs moving away. Exhaling, legs moving towards you. A few of these places your breath just to ease the lower back. On your next inhalation, take your feet to the floor. You can scoop that flesh of your buttocks towards your heels again, not a pelvic tilt, just lengthening the lower back. Straighten your legs one at a time. Your legs fall out to the side. Keep your hands up to the sides in a comfortable place. And let go. Let go. Let the arms, the legs flow away from the torso. Releasing, opening,
Find the softness in the feet and the softness in the hands. Let the whole torso release and relax and let go, surrendering to the Mother Earth below you. Let the skull release and relax. The flesh of your face releasing, relaxing as if it's melting away, dissolving away. Allowing your eyes themselves to rest into your cheekbones. Allowing your awareness to become a witness to the breath, the prana, the life force, the cosmic energy that flows through you. And you become a witness, the experience of the breath breathing you, of the cosmic energy breathing you. Shavasana. Begin slowly coming out, take a soft, smooth, peaceful inhalation, and a longer, smooth, peaceful exhalation. Toes over your nose. Bend your legs, place your feet on the floor with your knees together, feet apart. Take your hands, place them onto your abdomen or onto your chest. When you feel ready, extend your right arm past your right ear, roll to the right side. Be on your right side for a moment. Whenever you feel ready, place your top hand on the floor in front of your heart. Turn your torso towards the floor, push to come up chest towards head off. Palms together. Draw your eyes back and down as you turn the corners of your lips. Observe in your practice. What's different? What's changed? And taking an opportunity to say something kind to yourself, offering gratitude to your body for bringing you through this practice. Let's close our practice together by chanting one collective poem. Deep inhalation. Om. Your eyelids open. Smile. Namaste. Bow to the divine within you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody here. A few more people in the room here. Welcome. Thank you, everybody at home for being here. Your plan, the current plan is to open the studio with a full schedule on June 14th. We will share more information as we get it all together. We're finalizing.
Yeah.